First, let me remind everyone in this room that there is a mandate from the Constitution. The Constitution provides Article 2, Declaration of Principles and State Policies, Section 17, the state shall give priority to education. Under Article 14 of the Constitution on Education, the state shall promote quality education in all levels, especially basic education. And with that, Madam Chair, we are going to therefore exercise the power of the purse. What was proposed by the Vice President for DepEd was exactly 86.4 billion for 2023. So therefore, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the budget of the Department of Education headed by Vice President Sara Duterte of 709.7, plus we all move that we restore the 86 billion to be able to ask. There can be no way. We cannot be under the mango trees. We have to have the classrooms. That is the first requirement, to have education, quality education to all levels. And that is why I move, Madam Chair, 86.4 billion. Plus the last motion is not inclusive of the motion to increase the budget using the power of the purse, with our dear Speaker being present, who is going to make sure that Congress exercises the power of the purse. Mr. Chairman and Honorable Speaker, we have. Let us now unite together, have that force, the power of the pulse of the purse, and therefore move for the additional budget for the Department of Education. That is why my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Unanimous second the motion.
Sa 3 buwan ko po sa loob ng Department of Education, meron po akong 2 napansin na ginagawa ng ating bansa. Unang-una, nakakahon po tayo doon sa idea na lahat po ng learning ay nangyayari sa loob ng classrooms. Kaya po tayo nakatutok sa lagi po tayo nakatutok sa classroom shortage. Hinahabol natin ng hinahabol ang classroom shortage. At alam naman natin na every year din, hindi nabibigay ang ideal na budget para sa classrooms. So I likened the problem of the classroom shortage to a quicksand. At pangalawa po, ang napansin ko sa ginagawa ng ating bansa sa ating basic education is that hindi natin nire-recruit ang mga pinakamagaling na mga senior high school graduates to take up education in higher education. Yan po ang napansin ko sa ating Department of Education sa 3 buwan ko po na nandiyan. Dapat po, we have to be innovative. Dahil po alam naman natin na hindi na natin masolve yung classroom shortage, tinitingnan po natin ang iba't ibang paraan na pwede nating gawin that learning continues for our learners outside of the classroom. Ang atin pong motto is that not all learning happens inside the classroom, which is true. I believe that everyone will agree with that. Lahat po tayo ay maraming natutunan, hindi sa loob ng classroom at hindi sa ating mga teachers, but sa ating life experiences as well. And then before we conclude our presentation, we would like to present to you our plans for the succeeding years of the administration of President Marcos, and that is to invest heavily in flexible learning options. Of course, we will still pursue the building of classrooms. Of course, we will still pursue the recruitment of the best of teachers, but we will innovate and look for other solutions, because Yung problema po natin 10 years ago is problema pa rin natin hanggang ngayon. So dapat po we should think outside of the box already with regard to basic education. I described our classroom shortage as a situation of a quicksand. We're due to meager budget given to classroom construction annually. We cannot even address the requirements due to enrollment increase and the shortage that keeps piling up year in and year out. Second, we would like to seek your support in our stand of the lifting of the provision for basic education and classroom building in MBM 138 series of 2021. This is the order for the Department of Education to build only classrooms in the 5th and 6th class municipalities, because as a former mayor, I believe even Davao City cannot address the classroom shortage in our city. So hindi po kaya yan, lalong-lalo na ng mga 1st to 4th class municipalities. And I would like to reiterate our full support to the BARMM concern in financing their regular programs previously covered by the national government. We believe that the Bloc grant given to BARM is not enough to fund its competing resources. Lastly, I sincerely thank the members of this committee for listening to our plan for next year and beyond. I know that the challenges we are facing are huge, and we need your support in our quest to think out of the box for our Filipino learners. May I humbly ask this committee for the endorsement of our proposed budget to the plenary for consideration. Thank you very much. Daghang salamat.
Salamat, Madam Secretary, sa inyong paliwanag ng inyong policy direction with respect to classroom shortages. And rest assured po, kasama niyo po ang Kongreso outside the box po. So at this point, we will now open the floor to questions and a few house rules. Each member will only have 5 minutes for questions at hindi po kasama sa 5 minutes na yon ang sagot po ng ating mga DepEd officials. And we also have a long-standing tradition where we accord preferential treatment to our minority members, and they will be followed by the majority members in an alternating manner. So at this point, we now recognize from the minority, Senior Deputy Minority Leader, Paul Daza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maayong bundag, maupay nga aga sa iyong atanan. Madam Chair, out of respect and courtesy to the Vice President and the concurrent Secretary of Education, the members of the minority in the House have decided that no more than 3 members will interpolate, and the rest, including myself, have waived the right to interpolate in this budget hearing. So, Madam Chair, we're hoping that the majority will afford the same courtesy this morning to the Department of Education. That's all, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Rep. Daza, Majority Floor Leader.
Yes. Also to follow the manifestation made by the minority, we also will reciprocate with 3 members from the majority who will interpolate the Department of Education. Madam Chair.
Salamat po sa mga miyembro. Nagsalita na po ang ating majority and minority leaders. Doon po sa mga nagpalista, medyo mahaba po ang listahan. Nandito naman po ang regional directors kasama po ni Madam Secretary. So pwede po kayong magtanong sa kanila. And at the same time, may plenary debates pa naman po. So at this point, we're done with the minority. We can begin interpellation with the representative of Kabataan Party List, Representative Raul Manuel. You're recognized.
Hello. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning sa mga opisyal ng Department of Education. Yung una kong mga tanong ay tungkol sa learning recovery. Paano na tayo uusad mula dun sa dinulot na learning poverty noong early years ng pandemya. Aware tayong lahat kung paano tila ba ay hindi talaga maayos na natuto yung ating mga kabataan habang sila ay nag-aral lang through modules or through online. Merong comprehensive rapid literacy assessment tsaka amplified numeracy assessment ang DepEd. Kaso ito ay kinakonduct online. Ang tanong natin sa DepEd, paano natin matitiyak na yung assessment tool natin ay accessible dun sa ating mga kabataan to gauge how they really learned?
Yes, we would like to call on our USEC for the curriculum and instruction strand, USEC Gaviola.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Kung tama po ang aking pagkakarinig, ang katanungan po ay kung paano natin may improve ang ating learning recovery. Tulad po ng nabanggit ng ating kagalang-galang na secretary, tayo po ay magbubukas na by November 2 ng full face-to-face classes. Pangalawa po ay magbibigay po tayo ng
Madam Chair, allow me to interrupt. Since my question was specific, it was pertaining to how we assess the gaps in learning na naidulot nung distance learning na ginamit natin sa gitna ng pandemya. Ang tinutukoy ko ay yung CRLA o yung Comprehensive Rapid Literacy Assessment tsaka yung ANA o Amplified Numeracy Assessment. Ito ay kinonduct nationwide para matasan natin kung kumusta na ba talaga yung learning gaps. Kaso ito ay kinakonduct online. So alam na natin na through online classes, doon pa nga lang marami nang hindi nakapagpatuloy talaga sa pag-aaral o hindi natututo ng maayos. Pero yung assessment natin, online din natin pa ikakonduct. Yun yung tanong ko, Madam Chair.
Please
Mr.
proceed,
Chair,
sir.
Madam, can we ask Director Nelia to respond to that question? Director Nelia is online.
Director Nelia, are you logged on? Director Nelia? ComSec, kindly check if Director Nelia of DepEd is logged on.
Madam Chair, can you ask
Yes,
Regional
Yusek
Director
Gaviola.
of NCR to respond?
NCR RD, you are recognized.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Good morning, Your Honors.
Please kindly state your name and
This is
indicate your
Wilfredo
position.
Cabral of DepEd NCR, Regional Director. And I would like to respond on the question pertaining to the conduct of CRLA and ANA. We have partnered with the ABC Plus under the USAID, and that is in preparation for the implementation of Learning Continuity and Recovery Plan. On the question on why this has been conducted, not necessarily online, but electronic, just to facilitate the assessment of the status of literacy and numeracy level of our learners. This was conducted only on a 15-minute time for each, and not necessarily online, but to do it electronically, computer-based. This actually can be gathered in a matter of 15 minutes administering it. And you have already the result of how many are total refresher, those who are needing intervention and the likes. And this has been implemented to serve as baseline for the implementation of a responsive learning recovery plan. Thank you very much, Your Honors, Madam Chair.
Okay. Still, Madam Chair, kahit nabanggit na pwede itong gawin electronically, nangangailangan pa rin yun ng gadget. At sa bansa natin ngayon, ang laki pa rin nung bilang ng mga kabataan natin na walang sariling gadget. Either naghihiraman sa pamilya, isa lang yung kanilang gadget. Actually nga, meron pang pending bills dito sa Kongreso na maganda yung intensyon, one student, one gadget, to prove na marami pa talaga yung kulang dun sa kanilang resources. Tapos kahit Madam Chair, 15 minutes lang yung test actually kasi kailangan niya mag-connect dun sa electronic system. We received reports na yung system na yon ay laging nagbabog down at confusing din yung interface, Madam Chair.
Chair, can I
Director,
respond?
please proceed.
I'd like to point out that the assessment is not census. It is sampling, and it does not cover all grade levels. It covers only those in the key stage 1, grades 1 to 3. And while we were able to use some of the technologies that we have, we make use also well of the management system that are available, learning management system, and it does not cover the entire population in a certain key stage. So as to the question on the availability, it's just a matter of time management and identifying those areas or schools and learners within schools who can be tested using the tools that we adopted from our partnership with the USAID. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay. Madam Chair, modesty aside, ang background ko pa ay applied mathematics. And when we talk about sampling, kailangan nating maging maingat dun sa paano tayo nagsasample. Kasi with that, ang makakwalify lang dun sa ating sample ay mismo yung meron ng mga gadget. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin test, madadiagnose yung mga estudyante na hirap dun sa kanilang gadget na in the first place, sila na nga yung napag-iwanan dun sa ating shift to distance learning na kinailangang i-impose sa gitna ng pandemya. Sunod, Madam Chair, gusto ko nga matanong, pwede bang gawin na lang ito face-to-face? Kasi yung ating mga guro para makapag-proceed sila sa pagtuturo, kailangan din nilang mag-conduct ng mga remedial classes at para angkop yung kanilang remedial classes na ituturo, dapat na conduct nila nung maayos yung kanilang mga diagnostic tests. At ngayong nasa transition na rin naman tayo to full face-to-face classes, kaharap na si teacher, mas maiging face-to-face na at i-provide yung mga assessment tools para magawa ito ng maayos on a nationwide basis, Madam Chair.
Yusek Abiola.
Yes. Madam Chair, we will take into consideration the suggestion of the Honorable Congressman, and we would like also to inform everyone that for this coming 5 to 6 months, we will be conducting around 5 assessment tests, and also this includes the face-to-face and census examination. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Aasahan natin yun, Madam Chair, given na since nagbukas tayo ngayon, sa school year na ito, for 3 weeks na, ay umaasa pa rin yung marami sa ating mga teachers na may ipoprovide na test forms yung Department of Education. Kani-kanyang gawa na lang sila muna ng mga diagnostic tests habang wala pa yung ganong nationally directed na pagtatasa dun sa learning gaps. Sunod na tanong, Madam Chair, tungkol naman sa phasing na ating review ng K-12 program. I believe na bago tayo sumulong dun sa pagtatalakay ng mga panukalang batas na gusto mag-introduce ng mga bagong subjects, ay matalakay muna
Kindly
natin
wind up,
kailan mangyayari na yung K-12 review.
That is your last question, Rep. Manuel. Yusek Abiola.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ang ating pong ongoing pong review ng ating K-12 at this point in time po, ang ating K-10 are currently undergoing refinement at hopefully within the year ma-finalize at ma-execute na po natin. Kailangan po natin yan dahil dyan din po naka-anchor ang ating curriculum guides para po ang learning modalities at ang ating mga resources ay ma-execute din po natin ang procurement. At ayan po ang ginagawa ng department ngayon na i-harmonize lahat ng activity na to upang sa ganon ma-implement natin yung new curriculum with all the resources. Yung senior high or yung 11 to 12 ay ongoing po ang ating review and hopefully ma-finalize din po natin ito within 2023.
Okay.
Thank you.
I still have 30 seconds, Madam Chair.
Well,
Okay, so I'll direct the question to the official in charge
that was your
of
last
finance.
question. We can have a short manifestation to close.
Okay, sige. I'll just leave this final question. Then, depende na lang po sa DepEd kung masasagot. In case there will be an amendment in the NEP to realign confidential funds and good governance programs to specific itemized programs in education, kagaya ng provision ng school supplies, will DepEd be willing and able to utilize such funds? Yun na lang, Madam Chair. Maraming salamat.
Salamat, Rep. Manuel. Madam Secretary.
Yes, opo. I'd like to add to the answer of Yusek Cabiola. We're actually done with the review. We are currently presenting it. We initially presented it to the MANCOM, EXECOM, and then we will present it to other sectors from the government and the private sector as well. And we are currently starting with the review on grades 11 to 12, and then it will go through the same process. It will go through presentations so that comments and suggestions from all the sectors can be collated by the Department of Education, and we come up with the new curriculum for the K-12 program. However, during our discussions, it will take 2 to 3 years for us to implement new curriculum for the K-12. And I am trying to push the curriculum and instruction strand to do it in 1 year, and we will update you on that if we will be able to implement a new curriculum in a year or two. We're talking about academic school year. With regard to the confidential funds, there are so many issues, and you see it in the news with regard to our work in the Department of Education, the issues and challenges that we face in the Department of Education. Some of which very recently in the news are sexual grooming of our learners by their peers or their teachers. The recruitment to terrorism, active shooter copycats and active shooter issues and problems, recruitment in insurgency, recruitment of children in illegal criminal activities, the drug use of DepEd personnel and drug involvement of learners, the success of projects, activities, and programs depend upon very good surveillance and intelligence. Dahil hindi po ninyo matatarget kung sino ang isusolusyon ninyo kapag hindi po kayo nakagather ng credible intelligence and surveillance sa mga problema na gusto nating solusyonan sa loob ng Department of Education. And all this relate to our mandate that we deliver quality, basic education to our learners. And of course, education of our children relates to our national security as well. Thank you.
Salamat, Madam Secretary. Next interpellate from the majority. The chair recognizes the chairman of the Committee on Higher Education, Representative Marco, for his manifestation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Vice President Sara, magandang umaga po. After hearing you, Madam Secretary and Vice President and the other members of your team in some of the meetings that we had, I can conclude that you are really in total understanding of the overall situation of DepEd. And truly, it's amazing that in a very short period of time of having this job, you have shown to this body, and I heard it, and everybody heard it this morning, that you know exactly what you're going to do. And because of that, I would like to manifest our full support to the budget that you have asked. And if we can really stretch more the support to really bring back the original proposal that you have of more than 800 billion pesos. This is actually short of about 61.31 billion pesos. I think we will work on this if we can do it. But definitely we are with you, and being the chair of the Committee on Higher Education, definitely it's important that we support the basic education of the country, considering the fact that basic education will be the input to our higher education. So having said that, Madam Chair, Madam Vice President and Secretary, I will manifest our full support to this budget that you have been given under the NEP. But if we have additional budget to have this budget deliberation, I think we can add more to this additional budget of 77 billion pesos to make it the original amount of 848. So again, thank you very much, and good morning po.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Congressman Go, sir.
Right. Salamat, Repco. The next is from the independent minority, and this slot will not be counted towards the 3 of the minority. So the chair recognizes Representative ETSA Lagman from the independent minority.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to place on record that I have always been supportive of the budget of the Department of Education under the previous secretaries, and I will be consistent with that support under the leadership of Madam Vice President and concurrent Secretary of Education. But I have some questions, Madam Chair, and may I proceed? Let me first compliment the Secretary for her clear statement that even the city of Davao cannot finance and address the shortage of school buildings. And I am happy to note that she's not really in favor of the devolution at this time of local projects to be funded by LGUs. In this connection, may we request for the submission by the Department of Education of the devolution transition plan as filed with DepEd.
Madam Secretary, kindly take note of the request.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Congressman Lagman. We will submit to your officer the devolution transition plan of the Department of Education.
To the committee, copy furnish this representation.
Right. Yes, sir. To the committee and copy furnish the office of Congressman Lagman.
Face-to-face classes would be more effective and efficient in a proper and formal classroom setting. Would the distinguished Secretary agree to this truism?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir. If these are in-person classes, then in-person classes can happen in the classroom, but it can happen outside of the classroom as well, sir.
But it will be more efficient and effective if it happens in formal classrooms, is it not?
Honorable Lagman, I beg to disagree because there are immersions outside of the classroom that children still learn, especially when they are outside of the school, where our teachers take our learners to concretely explain the concepts that they want the children to learn.
But that is more the exception than the rule, because classes, face-to-face classes, should be conducted in classrooms. And for that purpose, may we know nationwide how many classrooms are still in disrepair?
Our USEC for field operations is USEC for administration, USEC Ablan.
Yusek Ablan.
Yes, Madam Chair, let me retrieve the information about the number of shortage of classrooms.
Not shortage. Classrooms which are still in disrepair.
I will retrieve the information, Madam Chair.
Yusek Ablan, do you have the information with you?
Yes, Madam Chair, it's in my pile of books in front of me.
Rep Lagman, do you wish to proceed to your next question?
I can answer now, Madam Chair. We have 149,806 classrooms needing major repairs, Madam Chair.
And how many classrooms nationwide are required to be constructed in order to meet the increased enrollment?
Yusek Ablan.
We need 167,901 classrooms to build, Madam Chair.
In other words, the proposed appropriation for the repair of classrooms and the construction of new school classrooms would be insufficient. My question now is, how much still do you need in order to address the repair of destroyed classrooms and to construct new ones?
For our 2023 proposal, Madam Chair, we requested from the TBM 86.38 billion for new construction of classrooms. For repair and rehabilitations, we requested 7.6 billion. However, in the 2023 NEP, we were only allocated 5.92 billion for new construction and 1.53 billion for repair, significantly reduced, Madam Chair.
Within your proposed budget, can you find some sources for allocation in order to fill the gap for the inadequate appropriations for classrooms?
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Your Honor, Honorable Lagman, we cannot offer any program for reduction because all of our proposals are actually not adequately funded under the National Expenditure Program. So it's really very difficult for us to identify such a program. It will mean reduction of beneficiaries as well. And right now, Honorable Lagman, it's difficult to point to one program so that the repair or construction will be funded. Just for additional information, Madam Chair, for 2022, our Honorable Secretary has done that difficult decision, and she has identified 3 billion for modification or realignment of our existing 2022 budget. And that was because of some of the procurement failure or lockdowns or still in COVID or not face-to-face. But for 2023, we are really aiming for a full face-to-face, which means more funding needed po. Maraming salamat.
Madam Chair, may we know where the increases in the budget of the department went?
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have provided the budget briefer in hard paper, hard copy, and we have enumerated, Your Honorable Congressman Lagman, all of the increases and decreases. The main increases are on the school-based feeding program, the Gabaldon program, and some increases in the GASPE, that is the voucher program. We are actually happy that we have restored the reduction in 2018. In 2018, there was about 9 billion reduction of the GASPE program, but we want to help all our private schools now. So a huge increase is in GASPE program.
May we know how much is appropriated for the restoration of Gabaldon buildings?
Yusek Sevilla.
Yes, ma'am. Looking for the Gabaldon lang po ngayon. Gabaldon used to be very, very...
Madam Chair, I am interested because I was the one who initially proposed for the restoration, not rehabilitation of Gabaldon buildings.
Yes, Your Honor. I have the data now, Madam Chair. This year, 2022 GAA, it's 97.9 million. And in next year, 2023 MEP, it will become 383.9 million. So there's a 286 million increase, Madam Chair.
Can you submit to us an inventory of the existing Gabaldon buildings nationwide which have not been restored? I would like to underscore restoration, not rehabilitation, because many of the amounts earmarked for the Gabaldon were not restoration; they were just simply rehabilitation, which should not be the case, because we should preserve our cultural heritage.
Madam
Now-
Chair, sorry po.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Honorable Lagman, we will provide, and we confirm that the budget item title is Conservation and Restoration of Gabaldon and Other Heritage School Buildings, and DepEd has a department order on the manner of the restoration, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, what is the mandate of the Department of Education in the education of special children?
Kindly wind up, Rep. Lagman. Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. We'd like to call our Curriculum and Instructions RAN, Yusek Gaviola.
Yusek Gaviola.
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we are providing SPED programs by considering the provisions of the K-12 Adapted Transitions Curriculum, locating learners with disabilities or with difficulties in school assessment through the use of MPAT to assess the strength and weakness of grade 1 learners, capacitating receiving general education teachers in teaching LWDs in the inclusive setting, and in strengthening collaboration with relevant interest parties. Moreover, Madam Chair, for this year, DepEd has no budget for this, and we are just utilizing whatever is the available funds for 2022. Moreover, Madam Chair, we requested 560 million, but in NEP, it's zero budget. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Rep. Lagman, kindly use your remaining 30 seconds
Yes.
to close your interpellation.
Yes, the special children are those who need special attention and special necessities compared to other children. And it's very important because I understand we have an increasing number of special children in the Philippines. We would like to ask the department to submit to us the nationwide number of Filipino special children if you have that. If you do not have, please undertake that survey. My last point, Madam Chair, is on the flexible learning options. May we request the Department of Education to submit to the committee what is actually meant by these flexible learning options and what are the options. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Rep. Lagman. Next, interpolate from the minority, the chair recognizes Representative Eileen Brosas from the Gabriela Party List.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, my question is, yung 13.9 billion na inilaan sa pagpapatayo ng classrooms, no, inilalaan para sa pagpapatayo ng classrooms, ilan po ang maipapatayo nito, Madam Chair?
Yes, we'd like to call you Ablan, Administration Strand.
Yes, Madam Chair. For the classroom allocation for 2023, we can allocate 2,300 classrooms po.
So, Madam Chair, base sa mga sinabi kanina, sa kalagayan ng classroom talaga natin, overcrowded, tapos karamihan 2 klase sa isang classroom, ano exactly yung gagawin ng DepEd para dito? Kanina po sinabi yung flexible learning, etc. Ano exactly yung gagawin natin sa mga kulang yung classrooms?
Yusek Ablan. Madam Secretary.
Yes. Thank you. So right now, what we are doing is that we do shifting of classes, and some of our schools are on blended learning. So they shift from in-person classes to modular or online electronic classes. And for our future plan is the flexible learning options. So flexible learning options right now are FLO-ALS, that is the alternative learning system, the FLO-ADM, that is the alternative delivery modes of instructional or learning modalities, and the FLO-LRs. So the long-term plan is for flexible learning options, and the short-term plan is for shifting of classes and blended learning. Thank you.
Rep. Rosas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, physical talaga yung kailangan ng mga estudyante, no, na structure sa ngayon. At yun talaga yung kulang. And Madam Chair, how about yung mga textbooks, instructional materials? May bagong delivery ba ng textbooks? And ilan po ang na-procure na armchairs and desk ng DepEd?
Right. Okay, Yusek Ablan of the curriculum and administration strand.
Yusek Ablan.
Right now, Madam Chair, we have procurement for SLMs and textbooks. For next year, we are also programming continuing SLMs and textbooks, Madam Chair.
Rep. Rosas.
Madam Chair, my question about the procurement ng arms and chairs, desk ng DepEd para sa paghahanda sa face-to-face classes.
Insofar as the school furniture program is concerned, Madam Chair, we have an allocation of 1.1 billion, which we seek to have 15,510 seats delivered to our learners this year.
Madam Chair, kasya ba ito?
Madam, my apologies. It's not enough, Madam Chair. Our research have shown that in 2020, the the House of Representatives allocated more or less 4 billion pesos for the school furniture program because there is a backlog. However, due to the COVID pandemic, 3 billion was actually returned to the Bayanihan Fund. We are requesting for the House to return the 3 billion that we requested so that when we build classrooms, there is a corresponding number of chairs and furniture. So again, to reiterate, the House allocated 4 billion, but we returned 3 billion for the Bayanihan. We are seeking the return of the 3 billion in order for us to adequately provide for chairs and tables for our learners.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, bakit binalik yung pondo, no? Kulang nga. Pinababalik nyo, Madam Chair?
Madam Secretary,
Yes, we'd like to call Yusek Sevilla of Finance Tran.
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was during the calendar year 2020 and 2021, there was an executive order to review programs that will not be implemented due to the COVID. And DBM actually has identified also programs of the Department of Education, and this was officially returned, negative allotment, and then positive allotment for the blended learning. So ito po ay talagang ginawa ng lahat ng mga ahensya. Ang ibig sabihin lang po is yung requirement na dapat na ipadala or na deliver noong 2020, 2021 because of the Bayanihan Law will now be very much inadequate for 2023. And i-reiterate po namin, ang proposal namin for 2023 for school furniture is 4.7 billion, but the NEP provided 1.8 billion. So another 3 billion deficiency for the year. Yun po yung explanation, Madam Chair.
Yun, Madam Chair, nag-a-average ang mga class size ng 40, 50, 60, tapos walang upuan. Madam Chair, dapat seryosohin natin ito, no? Bigyan natin ng atensyon yung tumitinding education crisis. Kailangan po tugunan ng gobyerno yung kakulangan sa pasilidad, yung classrooms, yung kagamitan, yung mga guro na lubos na naapektuhan dito sa kalidad ng edukasyon para po talagang makausad tayo, Madam Chair. And my question is, meron po kayong 150 million confidential fund sa DepEd. Para po saan ito? Kasi I believe yung Office of the Vice President, meron na siyang 500 million confidential fund na nakalagay. And ito, 150 million. And in the 2021 and 2022 wala pong ganito.
Yes, thank you. The Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education are two separate entities. They are two separate departments of the government, and they have separate mandates as well. As explained earlier, number one, the success of a project, activity, or program really depends upon very good intelligence and surveillance, because you want to target specific issues and challenges. And because these specific issues and challenges are all illegal, like say for example, as previously mentioned, sexual grooming of learners, recruitment in terrorism and violent extremism, drug use of DepEd personnel, these are not laid out for our regular personnel to see. That is why we need the help of the security cluster and the security sector to address these issues and challenges to basic education. And as I said, basic education has a direct link to the national security of our country. We are truly interested in the quality of education of our learners.
To
Madam-
our members,
Yes, Madam Chair.
sana po makinig tayo sa mga sagot to avoid repeating of questions. Rep. Rosas.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, kulang tayo sa classrooms, kulang tayo sa upuan, kulang tayo sa textbook learning. So, Madam Chair, tapos maglalagay tayo ng confidential funds. Hindi naman natin ma-account, Madam Chair. Sana man lang, Madam Chair, itong mga usapin na ito, no, mailagay na lang yung mga pondo sa mga dapat nilang kalagyan, Madam Chair. And my last question, Madam Chair, kasi ito is a VAUSI, no? We're talking about the violence against women and children sa mga paaralan. Mismong mga guro yung nambibiktima sa mga estudyante. Ano yung policy and guideline ng DepEd hinggil dito? At paano po ang implementation dito sa mga schools? Ano yung ginagawa ng DepEd sa mga child predators na nasa school administration? Alam niyo po kasi bahagi po ito ng pinasa nating batas, no, sa Safe Spaces Law. Mahalaga po, naririnig ko po yung sa sexual grooming kanina, no, pero ano exactly yung programa ng DepEd dito?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. We will call our USEC for field operations, USEC Revsi Escobedo, who handles the Child Protection Unit of the Department of Education.
Yusek Escobedo, you're recognized. Who is joining us via Zoom? Yusek, do you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
we-
good morning, Madam Chair. We have Child Protection Unit in place at the Department of Education, and we are currently strengthening the child protection committees at the school level. And we are also strengthening and expanding the function of the child protection units along regional and division level. So right now, there are cases filed against those perpetrators who infuse violence against our learners. And we have several cases of child abuse filed by our lawyers. And in fact, the last Monday, we served a formal charge with preventive suspension against a teacher who abused her learners inside the school. So we will furnish the committee about the reports and ongoing programs of the Child Protection Unit of the Department of Education, Madam Chair.
Rep. Rosas.
Madam Chair, bakit napakalaki ng pagbaba ng child protection program ng DepEd mula 26.72 billion ngayong 2022 patungong 4.74 lang billion sa 2023? Ito po kasi yung tingin namin programa na magsisiguro para sa mga batang biktima ng sexual harassment and abuse. Paki-explain po ito.
Yes, we'd like to call USEC Sevilla of the Finance Strand.
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have a budget line item for Child Protection Unit. It's actually charged in our regular MOE. Kaya hindi po namin alam kung saan galing yung figure na in billions na nabanggit po ng ating Honorable Congresswoman.
Rep. Rosas.
Yes, Madam Chair. So wala kayong child protection program sa DepEd dati worth 26.72 billion?
We don't have that much amount po na in billions. Actually, yung Child Protection Unit is an ad hoc program and office na ginagawa po sa central office and then kinakascade sa mga regional offices. And we are using our regular MOE for this. Meron po kami proposal. Actually, noong pong last year, 26.7 million. Baka ito po yun, but it's in million. 26.7 million nasa learners' resilience and well-being. But this is actually from the regular MOE. And ngayong pong taon na to, 4.7 million ang naibigay po sa NEP.
Kindly wind up, Rep.
Pardon, Madam
Rosas.
Chair, tama pala, million. 26.72 million. Tama? So yun,
We
tapos
confirm.
ngayon, meron po kayong request for
Yusek Sevilla.
Yes, Madam Chair. The request is also to maintain the 2022 26.7 million. However, in our deliberation in the Department of Budget and Management, we were asked to reprioritize. Ibig sabihin, ano ang gusto ninyo na maunang ma-restore? Siyempre, nahuli po itong Child Protection Unit because we can use some of our MOE regular funds. Pero syempre kung ma-restore po siya sa 26.7 million, mas maganda po. But due to the reprioritization or ranking of the program asked by the DBM, hindi po ito nasama sa mga prioritized programs.
Your time is up, process.
Madam Chair, hihingi na lang ako ng mga programs, no? Kasi yun yung specific na tanong ko eh. Ano yung mga programs? Kung isa po ito sa CPU, sa budget, ano pa yung iba pa? Yun na lang, Madam Chair. Maraming salamat.
Kindly take note of the data requests of rep process.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Now from the majority, the chair recognizes Representative Bambi Amano for his manifestation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Speaker, and Chairman Ko and colleagues. Madam Chair, the Secretary had been a very, very good neighbor in the islands of Mindanao, and we saw how wonderful and how she brought the Davao City to greater heights. And the very recent elections, more than simple majority of the Filipinos, like 32 million or 61.53%, supported and trusted her. And as she became president, no less than the president, Marcos, gave her the opportunity and entrusted Department of Education, the future of this generation, in her hands. But very sad, very, very sad. The budget that they or she requested was way below the budget, especially for the construction of classrooms. And worse, they only gave her the opportunity to give it to the 5th and 6th class municipality. Characteristic culture of Filipinos says that when there is a developed city, municipality, or province, people tend to polarize because that's where they want to work. And when they work there, they bring their children with them. And that is the reason that even urban provinces and cities lacks classroom. Madam Chair, we expect a lot from the Vice President and from the Secretary, but we could not allow her to run the Department of Education with one hand tied at her back. That's why, Madam Chair, Nationalista Party, with the authority from Deputy Speaker Villar, Manong Budoy Madrona, Pong Barbers, and its members, thoroughly supports the budget of Department of Education. More we will support if it will be added to. Thank you, Madam Chair, and Mayong Buntag.
Salamat. Salamat, Rep. Amano. Madam Secretary, do you wish to respond?
Yes. We would like to thank the Honorable Congressman Amano for the support to our basic education learners. Rest assured, sir, that we will try to do our best with what we have right now, and we will be innovative in finding solutions to the problems of basic education.
Salamat, Rep. Amano. Susunod po is from the minority. The chair recognizes Deputy Minority Leader Franz Castro from the ACT Teacher Party List.
Thank you. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga sa ating pong lahat at kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Sa unang tanong, Madam Chair, ito po ay tanong po sa pamunuan, bagong pamunuan ng DepEd. Ano po yung ginagawa nila o may ginagawa ba sila o wala dito sa laptop corruption issue? Na ngayon ay alam natin dinidinig sa Senado, pero dito dahil meron din akong resolution, hindi pa rin. Pero tanong ko po sa bagong pamunuan, dahil hindi naman sila involved dito, are you conducting probe inquiry about this laptop corruption issue in the Department of Education?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Number one, we wrote COA requesting for a fraud audit, and COA already responded to us with regard to their conduct of a fraud audit inside the Department of Education, particularly for the laptop project. And then number two, within the organization, I already ordered the Chief of Staff to open an inquiry whether some of the personnel in the Department of Education were acting in ultra vires with regard to the decision making of modifying the procurement that was done for the laptops. So these were the two actions inside the Department of Education. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can we ask the DepEd to furnish us the written report and action about the action being done by the DepEd regarding to this issue? Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am. We will submit a copy of the report to the committee, copy furnished the office of the Honorable Castro.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice President. Madam Chair, kanina ipinakita yung krisis natin sa edukasyon. Yung ating kung gaano kalala ang learning crisis na kinakaharap ng mga estudyante sa iba't ibang antas. Elementary hanggang high school, very low achievement levels in reading, mathematics, science, at nagpahayag naman ang DepEd ng kanilang mga commitment at target, di ba, na gagawin. Pero wala pa po ako nakikitang konkreto, Madam Chair, sa kanilang presentation. Pero ang tanong ko, Madam Chair, bakit sa kabila ng ganitong kalalang problema ng ating mga estudyante, ang priority legislative agenda pa rin ng DepEd ay ang mandatory ROTC. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng ROTC sa pagpapataas ng reading comprehension, mathematical ability, and science sa ating mga sa ating mga estudyante? Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Because the problems on access, equity, quality, resiliency, and well-being and governance, these have already supportive legislation. Ang dami-dami na pong nagawang legislation, magagandang legislation for basic education. And ang nakikita na lang po namin na so far sa ngayon na kailangan ng legislation ay yung mga wala pa pong legislation. So right now we are working on all the laws that were passed by Congress na nagsusuporta sa basic education po. Thank you.
Madam Chair, so legislation ang sinasabi ng DepEd. So ano po yung gusto nyong legislation para mapataas natin yung reading comprehension ng mga bata at saka yung mathematics and science abilities? So kasi itong ROTC talagang priority pa rin naman ito ng Marcos administration. So bakit ROTC? Bakit hindi yung para to answer the problem ng learning crisis na binanggit natin?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, apo. Primarily, na-mention po natin doon sa ating presentation, if the Department of Education is given the budget that it is requesting, we will be able to open more programs to address the learning problems of our students. So, initially po, lumapit na kami sa Pangulo at sinabihan ko po ang Pangulo na if you give me 100 billion, I will solve all the problems of basic education. And that is what I want to reiterate as well to Congress and the House of Representatives. If you give us, the people here sitting in front of you, 100 billion, we will be able to solve the problem in 6 years. Thank you.
Sana, Madam Chair, makita natin yung concrete na mga solution ng DepEd. Pangatlo, Madam Chair, regarding naman ito sa mga teachers, alam natin bakit hindi tayo nakakapag-encourage ng mga magagaling na teachers sa senior high school na katulad ng binanggit ng DepEd dahil nga sa kababaan ng sweldo at saka yung mga benefits natin ay talagang hindi rin naman ganoon ka-enticing. Naniniwala po ba dito ang DepEd?
We would like to request our USEC for the BHROD to present the wages, benefits, and emoluments of our teachers. Thank you.
Yes, Rep. Castro.
I opened it already.
You can use the microphone of Rep. Manuel, Rep. Castro.
Madam Chair, gusto ko pong pasagutin ng ating Vice President and Secretary ng Education. Naniniwala po ba kayo na dapat taasan ang sweldo ng ating mga guro?
Yes, okay. So we will not present the existing salaries, wages, and benefits that we give to our teachers. But I will relate what the Secretary of Labor and Employment and the Secretary of the Department of Education discussed about the salaries of teachers. So I presented to him a comparison of the salaries between the private educational institutions and public schools. And clearly, we see there that there is a wide disparity between the salaries of teachers in private schools. And the Secretary of Labor and Employment is of the opinion that the market standard for salaries is the private sector. So in this case, if the government continues to give or increases in the salary of teachers in the government sector, this will put undue pressure in the private educational institution, thus creating a mass migration of teachers from the private schools to the public schools, which we actually see now. We have private schools na nawawala ng teachers dahil lumilipat po sa Department of Education. And this will force more closures on private schools. Dahil ang market standard po dapat ay ang sweldo sa private schools and private education.
Madam Chair, narinig ko na yan sa mga past administration. Laging kino-compare ang sweldo ng mga teacher sa public, sa private. Pero nakalagay sa constitution natin, dapat i-compare yon sa cost of living, syempre yung consumer price index, etc. Actually, yung 25,000 pesos na sweldo ng mga teachers natin, Madam Chair, way below yan kahit na doon sa mga counterpart sa ibang mga bansa. 50 to 60,000 yung pinakamababang sweldo ng teachers sa ibang bansa. So sana mapag-isipan ng Department of Education kung paano mapapataas natin ang sweldo ng mga teachers so that maka-entice tayo ng mas magagaling na mga teachers na pumunta sa public school, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you, Kong Castro. We really take note of your comments and we will endorse that to the Department of Budget and Management, which decides on the salaries of government employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. So, magkano po yung proposal ng DepEd sa medical allowance, sa teaching supplies allowance, at saka sa internet allowance? Dahil sinasabi natin ngayon, di ba, we think out of the box. So isa sa pwedeng madagdagan sana ay yung mga allowances ng teachers dahil sila na lagi yung nag-aabono eh. So kung we think out of the box, so magkakaroon pa rin ng blended learning. Narinig ko po sa DepEd, institutionalize yung blended learning, di po ba? So meron po bang proposal ang DepEd para taasan ng medical allowance? Kasi 500 yan sa kasalukuyan.
Can you wind up, Rep. Castro?
Yes, Madam Chair. Yung internet allowance ay 1,000. Yung teaching supplies allowance ay 3,500. So, meron po bang proposal para madagdagan itong mga allowances ng teachers po para dun sa tinitingnan natin na think of the box na mga method and strategies in teaching?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, we call Yusek Sevilla of the Finance Run.
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's a national budget call issued by the Department of Budget and Management. This is an instruction to all government agencies kung hanggang saan lang po ang pwede nilang isubmit at i-propose. Kasama po ang personal services or mga pangsweldo, benefits, and allowances na hindi po allowed na mag-propose ang government agencies kasi ito po ay standardized or a policy that should be done by the Department of Budget and Management and the Civil Service Commission. So even po tayo ay mag-submit din doon, automatically tanggal po ito sa system ng DBM. Kasi ang cash allowance ay isa pong legal na benefit na ibinibigay sa ating mga teachers na under sa batas ng General Appropriations Act. So ito po ay isang power of the purse na pwede po mangyari dito sa Kongreso at sa Senado. Maraming salamat.
Last ano
Yes,
na lang po,
Castro.
manifestation,
Yes,
Madam,
please.
Madam Chair. So kung magpapasa po ng batas ang Kongreso ng dagdag na medical allowance, teaching supplies, internet, susuportahan ba ito ng DepEd?
That was your last question.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we support all the legislation that will help our teachers, and we request the Congress as well that if there are legislations on this subject, to include the budget, the appropriation, nakalakip po doon sa benefit na ibibigay sa kanila. Thank you.
Salamat, Rep. Castro. And the last interpellate is from the majority. The chair recognizes Representative Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, our beloved chair, Stella Kimbo, our speaker, Martin Romualdez, and of course to the DepEd family, headed by the second highest official of the land, the number one official from Mindanao, the Honorable Mayor, now Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. First, let me remind everyone in this room that there is a mandate from the Constitution. The Constitution provides Article 2, Declaration of Principles and State Policies, Section 17, the state shall give priority to education. Under Article 14 of the Constitution on Education, the state shall promote quality education in all levels, especially basic education. And with that, Madam Chair, we are going to therefore exercise the power of the purse. What was proposed by the Vice President for DepEd was exactly 86.4 billion for 2023. To be able for us to catch up with all the backlog in the construction of new classrooms and the repair of classrooms. And that is why 86.4, how much was given? Only 5.9 billion. Now, where is, how can we able? I carry the voice of all the representatives present here. Zero. Cagayan de Oro is zero. So therefore, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the budget of the Department of Education headed by Vice President Inday Sara Duterte of 709.7 plus we all move that we restore the 86 billion to be able to us. There can be no way. We cannot be under the mango trees. We have to have the classrooms. That is the first requirement to have education, quality education to all levels. And that is why I move, Madam Chair, 86.4 billion. So minus 5.9, that is about 81 billion. Restore it. Plus the last motion is not inclusive of the motion to increase the budget using the power of the purse with our dear speaker being present, who is going to make sure that Congress exercises the power of the purse. Mr. Chairman and Honorable Speaker, we have the other matter, Mr. Speaker, Chairman and Secretary, the shortage of teachers. Now we will have the classrooms, 87 billion. The problem is no teachers. That is why in Cagayan de Oro, under the standing leadership of Superintendent Sherry May Limbaco, we have Number of teacher shortage, 297, not much. But if you compute with all of us, there is a shortage in all districts, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I move that we restore the budget for additional teachers, not only 10,000 teachers. We have to put in what is needed for 2023. With that motion, Mr. Chairman, I therefore ask my colleagues, let us now unite together, have that force, the power of the pulse of the purse, and therefore move for the additional budget for the Department of Education. That is why my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Unanimous second the motion. Unanimous second the motion, Madam Speaker.
We heard you loud and clear, Representative Rodriguez. We take note of all of your motions and we shall consider them at the appropriate time, sir.
Madam Chair.
Madam
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes, Madam Chair, we would like to thank the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez for passionately expressing the sentiments of the Department of Education. Mahal ka po, sir, ng Department of Education.